help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts on the video. Your feedback helps make the contents better. Now let's get to the story. I blinked at my phone screen, reading the message for the 5th time. The words didn't make any more sense than they did the first time. Mr. Cross, this is Memorial Children's Hospital. Your son, Evan, has been diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. We need to discuss bone marrow compatibility testing immediately. My son. The son I hadn't seen in 3 years. The son whose mother told me he was ashamed to call me Dad. I sat there in my tiny apartment, hands shaking, coffee going cold on the table beside me. The hospital needed me now. After 3 years of silence, 3 years of blocked numbers and returned letters, suddenly I mattered again. My name is Daniel Cross. I'm 34 years old, and I used to have everything. A beautiful wife, twin boys who called me Daddy, a house in the suburbs with a basketball hoop in the driveway. Then one day, Lena decided she wanted a different life, a life where I wasn't the leading man anymore. The divorce papers came fast. The custody battle was over before it started. Full custody to her. I got nothing, not even supervised visits. They don't want to see you, she'd said, her lawyer doing most of the talking. The boys specifically requested no contact with their father. Evan and Noah were 8 years old. 8! And apparently they hated me enough to never want to see me again. At least, that's what Lena claimed. I didn't fight it. Maybe I should have. Maybe I was a coward. But when your own children supposedly reject you, something inside just breaks. If you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My mother said I wouldn't even reach 1,000 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these stories matter. I called the hospital back within minutes. My hands were still shaking when the oncologist, Dr. Sarah Chen, picked up the phone. Mr. Cross, thank you for calling back so quickly, she said, her voice professional but strained. Evan's condition is serious. We need to move fast. We're testing family members for bone marrow compatibility, and as his father, you have the highest statistical chance of being a match. Whatever you need, I said immediately. When can I come in? Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. I'll have the paperwork ready. I didn't sleep that night. I kept picturing Evan, the last time I'd seen him. He was 8 then, missing his 2 front teeth, obsessed with dinosaurs. Now he was 11. What did he look like? Did he still have that crazy cow lick that never stayed down? Did he hate me as much as Lena said he did? The next morning, I arrived at the hospital early. The woman at the reception desk directed me to the oncology wing. My heart hammered against my ribs with every step. Would I see Evan? Would Lena be there? Dr. Chen met me in a small consultation room. She was younger than I expected, maybe late 30s, with tired eyes that probably saw too much suffering. Mr. Cross, thank you for coming. Before we do the testing, I need to confirm some information. She pulled out a file. You are the biological father of Evan Cross, correct? Yes, I said without hesitation. I'm his father. She made a note. And the pregnancy was natural conception? No fertility treatments or donor involvement? Natural, I confirmed. Lena got pregnant about a year after we got married. We were surprised when the ultrasound showed twins. The testing itself was simple. Blood draw, cheek swab, some paperwork. Dr. Chen said they'd have preliminary results within a few days, but it could take up to a week for the full analysis. Can I see him? I asked as she labeled the vials of my blood. Can I see Evan? Her expression softened. Let me check with his mother. Wait here. She was gone for 10 minutes. When she came back, her face told me everything I needed to know. I'm sorry, Mr. Cross. Ms. Martinez, sorry, she goes by her maiden name now. She's declined your request. She said it would upset Evan. Martinez. She'd even taken back her old name, erasing every trace of our marriage. I drove home in a daze. My son was fighting for his life, and I couldn't even see him, couldn't hold his hand, couldn't tell him his dad was here, that I'd never stopped thinking about him and Noah. 5 days later, my phone rang. Dr. Chen again. "Mr. Cross, can you come to the hospital? Today, if possible. We need to discuss the test results." Something in her voice made my stomach drop. Am I not a match? A long pause. "Please come in. I'd rather discuss this in person." I made the drive in record time, my mind racing through possibilities. Maybe I was only partial a match. Maybe they needed to do more tests. Maybe... Dr. Chen wasn't alone when I arrived. There were 3 other people in the room. 2 I didn't recognize, and 1 I did. Lena. My ex-wife looked older, harder somehow. Her hair was different, cut short in a severe bob. She wore an expensive-looking suit and wouldn't meet my eyes. "Mr. Cross, please sit down," Dr. Chen said. I sat. Everyone was staring at me with these strange expressions, like a puzzle they couldn't solve. "We ran your compatibility tests," Dr. Chen began. "We ran them 3 times, actually, because the results were so unusual." "Unusual how?" She exchanged glances with the other doctors. One of them, an older man with gray hair, leaned forward. "Mr. Cross, I'm Dr. William Park, head of the hospital's genetics department. What we're about to tell you is going to be shocking." My heart was pounding now. "Just tell me." Dr. Chen opened a folder. "Daniel, according to the DNA analysis, you are not a compatible donor for Evan because you are not his biological father." The room tilted. I gripped the armrests of my chair. "That's impossible." "We thought so too," Dr. Park said gently. "So we ran extended genetic panels on all the samples we had. Not just yours and Evan's, but also Noah's from his routine sports physical last year that we had on file. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because what happens next will absolutely blow your mind. This story takes turns you won't believe, and you don't want to miss a single moment of what's coming." "What are you saying?" My voice sounded far away, like someone else was speaking. Lena finally looked at me. Her face was white, her hands clenched in her lap. Dr. Park pulled out a chart covered with complex graphs and numbers. "Mr. Cross, neither Evan nor Noah share your DNA. Furthermore, Evan and Noah are fraternal twins with different biological fathers." The words hung in the air like smoke. Different biological fathers. Different fathers. Not mine. "That's medically impossible," I whispered. "It's extremely rare, but it can happen," Dr. Chen explained. "It's called heteropaternal superfecundation. It occurs when a woman releases multiple eggs and has intercourse with different men within a short time frame. Each egg is fertilized by sperm from a different father." I turned to Lena. She was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. "How long?" I asked her. My voice was surprisingly calm. "How long have you known?" "Daniel," she started. "How long?" The calm shattered. "Since before we got married," she whispered. "I suspected. I knew there were 2 possible fathers, but I thought you'd never find out." 11 years. 11 years of my life loving 2 boys who weren't mine. 11 years of being a father to children she'd conceived with other men, and she'd known the whole time. "Who?" I asked her. "Who are their fathers?" She looked at the doctors, pleading. Dr. Chen nodded gently. "Marcus Reed," she quietly said. "He's Evan's father. We were engaged before you, Daniel. We had an on-and-off thing. I saw him a few times while we were together early on." "And Noah?" "Julian Voss. He was... God, this sounds so terrible. He was someone I met at a conference, a one-time thing. I was confused, Daniel. We'd had that big fight about moving for your job, and You slept with two different men and then let me believe I was the father of your children for over a decade. I stood up. My legs felt like water. You watched me love them. You watched them teach me to ride bikes and tie their shoes. You took them away from me and told me they were ashamed of me, and they were never even mine. Daniel, please. Does Marcus know? Does Julian know? She shook her head. Neither of them. I chose you. I wanted it to be you. You chose wrong, I said coldly, and you let me pay for it for 11 years. Dr. Park cleared his throat. Mr. Cross, I understand this is devastating news, but we have a child who needs a transplant. We need to contact these men and request testing. I looked at him. Why are you telling me this? I'm not Evan's father. I'm apparently nothing to him. That's not true, Dr. Chen said softly. You raised him. You love him. That makes him your father in every way that matters, except the way that could save his life, I said bitterly. I left the hospital in a fog. The world looked different somehow, like I was seeing through warped glass. Every memory I had was now suspect. Evan's first steps, Noah's first words, were they even my moments to cherish? Or had I just been playing a role in someone else's story? My phone buzzed constantly over the next few hours. Lena calling, texting, leaving voicemails I deleted without listening to. The hospital calling with updates. My mother calling because somehow word had gotten to her. I turned my phone off and sat in the dark. 3 days later, I turned it back on. There were 47 missed calls. Most were from Lena, several were from the hospital, and 3 were from a number I didn't recognize. I listened to the voicemail from the hospital first. It was Dr. Chen. Mr. Cross, we've located Marcus Reed. He's agreed to testing. We're still searching for Julian Voss, but we have reason to believe he's living overseas. I know this is difficult, but Evan has been asking for you. He doesn't know about the DNA results. He just knows his dad isn't here. Please call me back. Evan was asking for me. My son. No, not my son, but the boy I'd raised wanted me. Before I could second-guess myself, I called Dr. Chen back. I want to see him, I said when she answered. I don't care what Lena says. I want to see Evan. Actually, Dr. Chen said, and I could hear the relief in her voice, Lena has agreed. She wants to talk to you first, but yes, you can see him. The meeting with Lena happened in a small family room at the hospital. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. I didn't sit down. What do you want, Lena? I want to explain. There's nothing to explain. You cheated, you lied. You kept lying for over a decade. You took my children away and made them think I abandoned them. They are your children, she said fiercely. DNA doesn't change that. You're the only father they've ever known. Then why did you keep them from me? She looked away. Because Marcus came back about 4 years ago. He found out I'd gotten married and had kids, and he started asking questions. He wanted to be involved. I panicked. I thought if you were out of the picture, it would be easier to... She stopped. Easier to what? Replace me with him? It didn't work out, she said miserably. He met the boys once and decided fatherhood wasn't for him. But by then, I'd already destroyed your relationship with them. I told them you didn't want to be in their lives anymore, that you'd moved on. I showed them fake texts from a burner phone I set up, pretending to be you, saying terrible things. If you're feeling angry right now, hit that like button and subscribe because you need to hear how this plays out. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The rage that filled me was white hot, blinding. You destroyed my life. You destroyed their lives. For what? Because you were too much of a coward to tell the truth? I know, she sobbed. I know, Daniel. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Your apology means nothing to me. Then do it for them, she pleaded. Evan needs you right now. And Noah asks about you all the time. He never believed the things I said. He knows I was lying. Where is Marcus now? He's being tested. He's a partial match. It might be enough. And Julian? We're still looking. He doesn't want to be found, apparently. I finally sat down, suddenly exhausted. I want to see them. Both of them. Okay, Lena said immediately. Okay, I'll arrange it. Evan looked so small in that hospital bed. He'd lost weight, and his hair was already starting to thin from the chemotherapy. But when he saw me walk through the door, his face lit up like the sun. "Dad!" he cried out. I crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled him into my arms, careful of all the tubes and wires. He clung to me, crying, and I realized I was crying too. "I'm here, buddy. I'm here. I'm sorry I've been gone." "Mom said you didn't want to see us anymore," he said against my shoulder. "But I knew it wasn't true. I knew you'd come back." Noah appeared in the doorway. He was taller than I expected, almost as tall as me now, with the same color hair I had, but not my DNA. Never my DNA. "Dad?" he said uncertainly. "Come here," I said, and he did, joining the hug. My boys. Not my blood, but my boys. We spent the next hour catching up. Evan told me about school, about his friends, about the leukemia diagnosis and how scared he was. Noah told me about making the basketball team, about how he'd been saving all my letters that Lena had supposedly thrown away, but had actually hidden in his room. "I have 3 years' worth," Noah said. "I read them all the time." My heart broke and healed and broke again. When visiting hours ended, Lena was waiting outside. "I'm filing for custody," I told her. "I don't care what the DNA says. Those are my sons." "I won't fight you," she said quietly. "You're right. They're the real father. I'll agree to joint custody, whatever you want." "I want the truth," I said. "I want you to tell them everything. What you did, who their biological fathers are, all of it." She paled. "Daniel, that will destroy them." "No," I said coldly. "What you did destroyed them. The truth will set them free." Marcus Reed turned out to be a partial match for Evan. Good enough, the doctors said, for a transplant. He came to the hospital once, met Evan for 10 awkward minutes, and then left. He signed away all parental rights and asked never to be contacted again. Julian Voss never responded to any attempts to contact. As far as Noah's biological father was concerned, Noah didn't exist. The transplant happened on a rainy Tuesday in November. Marcus showed up, gave his bone marrow, and left without seeing Evan again. I stayed with Evan through the entire procedure, holding his hand, telling him stories, promising him everything would be okay. And it was. 6 months later, Evan was in remission. The cancer was gone. During those 6 months, I moved back into the area, got an apartment big enough for the boys to stay with me. Lena and I worked out a custody arrangement, 60-40 in my favor. She didn't fight it. For once in her life, she actually did the right thing. We told the boys the truth one Sunday afternoon. Noah took it hard, disappeared into his room for hours. Evan cried, but seemed almost relieved, like it explained something he'd always felt but couldn't name. That night, Noah came out of his room and found me sitting on the couch. "You know what's funny?" he said, sitting down beside me. "What?"
"Marcus and Julian. They're our biological fathers, but they're not our dads. They never were. You are. You're the one who taught me to throw a baseball. You're the one who stayed up with Evan when he had nightmares. You're the one who came back even when Mom told you to stay away." "Biology doesn't make a father," I said. "No," Noah agreed. "Being there does. And you were always there, Dad. Even when we couldn't see you, you were there." Evan joined us a few minutes later, still pale and weak, but alive. Alive because Marcus had given bone marrow, but alive to live with me, his real father. The revenge I'd dreamed of, Public humiliation, legal battles, destroying Lena's reputation, none of that happened. Because the best revenge wasn't hurting Lena. The best revenge was living well, was being the father my sons needed, was proving that love and commitment matter more than DNA. The best revenge was the custody agreement that gave me primary custody, was watching Lena have to explain to her family and friends why the boys chose to live with me instead of her, was seeing the regret in her eyes every time she picked them up for her weekend and saw how happy they were in their life with me. The best revenge was Noah's college essay 2 years later titled My Real Father, all about me, about how I'd never given up, even when the world told me I should. The best revenge was Evan, cancer-free and thriving, calling me from college to tell me about his biology class where they discussed genetic inheritance. The professor said DNA determines everything, he told me. I raised my hand and told him he was wrong. Some things are more important than DNA. Make sure you're subscribed because stories like this one show us what really matters in life. Real people, real struggles, real love that transcends everything else. The best revenge was the call I got 3 years after the divorce was finalized. Marcus, drunk and crying, saying he'd made a mistake, that he wanted to know his son. No, I told him simply. You had your chance. You chose to walk away. Evan has a father. He doesn't need another one. The best revenge was hanging up and going to Evan's high school graduation, watching him walk across that stage, seeing him scan the crowd until he found me, seeing that huge smile when our eyes met. The best revenge was Julian Voss showing up 4 years later, wanting a relationship with Noah, and Noah, 17 by then and wise beyond his years, looking at this stranger and saying, "I'm good, thanks. I already have a dad." The best revenge was Lena, alone at 40, her betrayal having cost her everything that mattered, watching her sons choose me over and over again, not out of spite, but because I'd earned it, because I'd been there, because I was their father in every way that counted. The best revenge was simply being the man I'd always been, a good father to my sons. And you know what? That was enough. That was more than enough. That was everything. My name is Daniel Cross. I'm 41 years old now, and I have 2 incredible sons who call me Dad. Not because they have to, not because of genetics, but because I earned that title every single day for the past 18 years. And that's the greatest revenge of all. If this story touched you, if it made you feel something, please subscribe. These stories deserve to be shared, and your support helps make that possible. Thank you for listening. Thanks for staying with me through Daniel's entire journey. Before you go, I have one quick request. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing our community spread across the world, and it genuinely makes my day to read your locations. A special shout out to our incredible viewers from the United States, the Philippines, Canada, and New York. You guys make up the heart of this channel, and your support means everything. Your comments and stories inspire me to keep sharing these powerful narratives. If this story resonated with you, hit that share button and send it to someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes people need to be reminded that real family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up, who stays, and who loves unconditionally. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Trust me, the next one is even more intense. Until next time, take care of yourselves and the people who matter most to you.